Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel, Spiritual Justice Gym. Trusted Gym, God is Quita, or you can call me Quita, either one would do. I answer to both. Please like, share, subscribe, donate, all that good jazz. If you hear any noise in the background, it's just my children doing their chores, and my other child is just, being her wonderful self. We're just going to do an energy check-in reading because this is a full moon today. I think it's at 9 something p.m. Don't quote me on that. Depending on what side of the world you're on or what part of the world you're in, however you want to word it. Alrighty. So I'm getting the cards ready. I got my sage already going just a little bit. Cleanse these cards just a little bit. So I'm going to pause this video right here, and I'm going to get the cards ready. I'm going to pray and get the cards ready, and then I will be back. All right, we are back. I did shuffle and pray, but I didn't put the cards out yet, so I'm just gonna go from here. Drugs, sex, low self-esteem, low self-worth. Okay, I don't know who that is. Somebody is wise. We got wise. Okay, I know who that is. Stay. Demons. Lead, poison. I'm almost shiny, y'all. I just did my face routine. I usually do it at night. So when I get up in the daytime, I could just do a light moisture and then I seal it in with primer, but that's just me. Ooh, okay. It's a lot. Somebody may be doing a lot of. They want you to forget how wise you are. Humiliation rituals, fasting. Somebody wants you to forget your goals as well. All right. Let's keep going. See what else we can get coming out. Somebody is sending demons to someone so they can cry, or somebody's crying because of their demons. Okay, this is gonna sound like more bizarre than what we've been hearing, but I think I told y'all a couple of days ago about protoplasma, and protoplasma is really your spirit, and they take your consciousness, and they really they take your protoplasma, and what we're seeing here is that what they're learned to do, or what they have been doing for, I should say, for centuries, because that's the way we're putting it. They know how to take somebody's consciousness or protoplasma, even if their body has deteriorated, and they know how to call it back. And that's what we've been seeing a lot of when it comes to I just want to speak on Donald Trump at this time, because the Holy Spirit showed me something. When Andrew Jackson was alive back in whatever 18 something, dang, I left the book. I wasn't even going to talk about this, but the Holy Spirit told me to talk about it. Hold on, I might have brought it right here. Got so much stuff right here. Okay. So Andrew Jackson, very racist. I found that he was very racist against indigenous people that was of this land. He was so he didn't like indigenous people so much that he uprooted through harsh means and measures. Well, they didn't get compensated until later afterwards. That thousands and thousands of people had been unalive due to starvation and things of that nature. When it comes to walking the tears of the tears of the Trail of Tears, they had been. He made the, especially the I think it was the Cherokee and the, I got it written down. The Seminoles was one of the main ones he uprooted from Florida. You gotta understand that a lot of borders and stuff that we have now on the land wasn't as previous as it is today. And he uprooted a lot of the Seminoles, and he uprooted a lot of the Cherokee Indians. The Cherokee Indians was really rich people because they was in the land what we call Georgia, especially not the south part of Georgia, but the more Atlanta, that area. The reason why a lot of people are attracted to Atlanta, attracted to that particular area, because is not only is it a port there, but that was the land of the Cherokee Indians. A lot of people like going to Atlanta and like seeing Atlanta, and they were really rich. Cherokee Indians was the ones that originally was the goals, was the state where the goal was. In Atlanta, the south part of Atlanta, what y'all call them, south part from Atlanta on down, was really Florida, and that was the Seminoles land. Okay, can't get too technical with this because the borders and but a lot of Georgia was Florida, put it that way, and they stole from the Indians. It was British. It was some of the. It was Andrew Jackson. British was doing it. It was a lot of people stealing from the Indians. And the people that y'all call Indians today are not true Indians. So when I see Indian people, I'm not talking about people from India because they got some place named India now. I'm talking about the true people they call like Cherokee, and I'm talking about the Seminoles. Those are the two tribes that I'm talking about now, the tribal people, the real tribal people. And they were Carper people. There was people my skin complexion. A lot of them was Carper. They wasn't how light they are now. It's because a lot of things happened since the 1800s. So let's just put it that way. But Andrew Jackson uprooted Indians from the east, and he sent them west. So all the people that was living in the west, and they're tribal Indians and things of that nature, and they live on tribal lands, they still target them to this day, just like they took them out and because they claimed that they was alcoholics getting them help, and then they act like the Africans act like they were rehabilitating them and providing a place for them to stay and helping them to not be alcoholics. And what they did was defrauded them, and a lot of them was displaced here in Arizona and other places as well, and they defrauded a lot of Africans, and that's through Obama, Biden, all of the presidents. They let that happen. There has been no respect for the Indians for a long time, and they continue to disrespect the Indians, and they think it's cool because President Jackson did it. I think all the presidents, who we need to go through the presidents and understand who did what and who was, who did all this heinous stuff, and remove them from our money, because they don't deserve that. Okay, they don't deserve to be putting on anything. They don't deserve to represent, because what you're doing is constantly, when we touch money, we're constantly touching evil. That's why they say the root of money is all evil, because they're not talking about literally the money itself. They're not talking about like the love of money. They said the Bible said that for the love of money is the root of all evil. But the root of all evil is in the money. It's the people that's on the money. It's rooted in evil. All the symbols and on that is a lot of demonic symbols and symbolism. That's why you have the eagle. Eagle represents your higher self. The eagle is like its expansion. It represents your higher self. And then they have the American flag over the eagle to represent that you are enslaved to the dollar, to the bills, to the dead presidents who were very evil. And Andrew Jackson was one of the most evil presidents we have so far that I've researched. And he had a pure disdain for Carper Indians, mainly the Cherokee and the Seminoles was whew, Seminole, and like I said, was mostly what y'all call Georgia. Atlanta and on up is what was Georgia back then. Atlanta on down was Florida. Florida was that big. It was big. It wasn't just a panhandle. It wasn't little. That's what they reduced the Indians to. But they were not. That land was way bigger than it is now. So take a lot. It's a lot. What I'm going to say is a lot of gems in history and what I'm telling you. And the dollar itself, the dollar bill, money is the root of all evil. That, and then for the love of it, because it's rooted in evil, the people that's on these monies are evil. The reason why Donald Trump is signing his name on the money, because he understood if he don't have Jackson, and that's the point I'm trying to make. I'm gonna draw that connection in a minute, but Donald Trump. I can't say he realized. I don't even know how to word it without telling you the history. So we're gonna go revisit it. But Andrew Jackson had a disdain for Indian people, mainly the Seminoles and the Cherokee Indian. He has a very bad disdain. He uprooted them, made them starve and all of that, and didn't give them no money until years later. And it wasn't even Andrew Jackson that compensated the Indians. It was a whole nother president. And Andrew Jackson was one of the ones who probably was infiltrated by demons, reptilians, or whatever they worship. He probably was infiltrated. And when I say this, because we see now that Jeffrey Epstein looks just like President Jackson, down to the markers on his face, everything just. And it makes sense how that's how Andrew came into this world. He was dirt poor. Nobody know where he came up. Couldn't really find no roots on him per se. And then when they did find roots on him, there was when he was well established, sort of like Jeffrey Epstein when he had money, when he became known for the Trail of Tears and all the stuff. When he was before that, he was called the hero for something. I'm not trying to point out his accolades, so-called accolades, but what I'm trying to tell you is by recognition and notoriety, it was what established him to make him wealthy, because he was born poor. And that's why you have to be, a lot of people say they are plants, and this is the reason. I don't even know how to put it, because this area is so great, but that is another how they call it industry plant, but that's another plant. But by whom you say, it's a lot of people who ain't died, who have never died, that's dying these days. Meaning it's a lot of people whose consciousness to go through the rebirth cycle is not going through the rebirth cycle. What they're doing is stopping them from being reborn like most of us, and forget a lot of our consciousness, forget a lot of our past lives, and we only are privy to bits and pieces of it. What they do is let these people go ahead on and pass on, and they put their consciousness somewhere, wherever it goes. But what they do is keep the body, the stem cells. That's why they have these labs and research facilities. That's why they need to be underneath the ocean. That's why they need to be in these areas that's not privy to the public, so they can continue pulling people out the grave that's supposed to be dead. We have Jeffrey Epstein, who is Andrew Jackson. We know this because he looked just like Andrew Jackson. Similarities are there, and he did the same thing Andrew Jackson did. Came out of the middle of nowhere and became this billionaire, just became popular and became this. And these are the people that they you know how the Egyptians used to mummify and preserve their dead. And this is why, because so they can reclone them. But these don't get me wrong, these clones, they have done so much research into, they could grow them and things of that nature. But the reason why they don't die is because they know how to get your protoplasma, pull it from the ethers and put it in a body. That's why I think Andrew Jackson is in Donald Trump. because everything about his presidency, I don't know about the first one, I didn't do too much research on the first term, but this second term is everything, almost everything Andrew Jackson did down to the T. Down to the T. How he, move one group of people and make them go back, move to another place. How he did it without, disregard for their health, for their resources, without payment, and he basically forced them. And that's what happened with the Indians. Andrew Jackson basically forced them to move through military. He got the military and made them move out of their lands. And the reason why he did that was because, you gotta understand, white people back in that day, because they was created in the lab. Y'all can argue with your mama, but the people that I'm talking about, maybe not all white people, but the people that Andrew Jackson represented, was because these are the demons. These was the empty bodies that they needed, and they were mainly they were white people, because what Yokobu did was strip the melanin from them, and that gave them a higher connection to God. And what they did was allow demons in their body. These was people who was basically soulless, and they put demons in their bodies and let them walk around. And that's why they said when the fallen angels came down to earth, they made it with mankind, because it looked like a body. That's why you need discernment. And this is how that people made it with angels, and they begot giants, because they didn't know that they was mating with demons. And when I say angels, at the time, remember, they was angels in heaven that got cast out, then they was to be called demons. And so at that time, everything was fresh. And so humans looked at it and see that they was good. That's what the Bible's talking about, how Yokobu did what he did. Excuse me. And they saw that it was good. And they made it with mankind, because you gotta understand, it was meat suits created in the lab that were soulless, and demons, either demons or protoplasmas from past lives was sucked out the ethers, or however you want to put it, and put into these bodies. And that's why you have Palm Beach Pete that look like this is all on purpose. It's to make it, there's no clones. It's a cause of confusion and division. But the Holy Spirit is bringing clarity unto the people. What is really happening here is, what you're seeing is clones. Not only are you seeing clones, people are wearing other people's face. Not literally up there. They can, they have all kind of technology to make your face, because they do movies and stuff and all that makeup and stuff. So that could confuse you. So they're doing that too. Just like Jim Carrey, he has reptilian eyes too. I hate to say it. And I believe that these certain ones are allowed to speak out and say the truth, so they can be normalized. And I believe Jim Carrey was one of those people that spoke out about the truth, just so that it wouldn't be a spotlight on the divine ones, the true people. So you think, Jim Carrey is for us and this and that, but I'm telling you guys, I have the gift. His eyes are reptilian. Eyes don't lie. The eyes of his soul, he full reptilian. I don't know how he got it, how he got to be that way, but he's full reptilian. He's full reptilian. Full reptilian. So that being said, how can I put this? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So when these people, when Yokobu or Yoku, how do they call him Yoku? Okay. When these petri dish people was created, let's just put it that way. When these petri dish people was created, I should say reorganized in the lab, because we were created, and they took the cells of black people, of colored people, and that's what they did, and stripped them of their melatonin, and they allow other consciousness, whether they want to call, if they want to call Andrew Jackson back and then call him Jeffrey Epstein, because that's hits what they did, and see how it play out. They want to see what, like the CIA, like you want to see, like, okay, we're gonna let him loose and see what he come up with. Because you gotta understand, if you read the story of Andrew Jackson, he was born poor. Nobody knew of him. He worked his way up to being president, however he did it, and then ultimately he became. He did the most sinister thing was steal, kill, rob, and destroy the Indians. A lot of them, which signs of Satan. Okay. And then not only did he do that, then he didn't even compensate the people. Then later on, they had to come and compensate the people after I think he left his presidency. And then we have to look at these people who are in high places that his birthday was March 4th. Why the devil like people in the 4th? Tina knows, March 4th. Beyonce, March 4th. Not saying before that they was evil, because clearly, I don't know their background story. I don't know nothing. I know a little bit about a little bit, but the devil seemed to love people born on the 4th of the month, and if they're not born evil or they're not in these secret societies, then he makes situations where they turn evil, where they're eventually reptilian people, and people think that reptilian people is something like, how can I say that you're born into a family reptilian? No. You can have something done to you. I don't even know how to explain it, but how Jeffree Star said they wanted him to go feel reptilian, he know what I'm talking about, because I never experienced it. I had never seen it, but you can be a human and go full reptilian, because we do. I think it's the basal ganglia. Yeah, I said that right. Ganglia. The basal ganglia that is considered your reptilian brain. And what that does, the basic ganglia is your basic instincts and stuff, which connects you to your root chakra, but it's in the brain. So what they're doing is essentially putting both sides, your logical mind and your intuitive creative mind, into your root chakra, into your hell. So you're just living basically on survival instincts and all of that. And that's what we see with the Drewski and Erica Kirk situation. I was gonna call her evangelist, but the Holy Spirit would not let that come out my mouth. I don't know why I wanted to say evangelist, but anyways, the Erica Kirk and the Juicy situation, the Lord will use certain people to trigger other people so you can see people's true colors, and her true colors are showing. Like, she's reptilian brain. Any woman that claimed to be of Christ would not get up there and promote division amongst black and white people, would not get up there. They probably wouldn't even pay attention to Drewski or thought it was funny. But she did not think it was funny. She, in turn, retaliated. And that is coming from a lower chakra energy. Not saying you're not supposed to defend yourself, but it's in the way that she defended herself. It wasn't through the Bible. It wasn't through the Holy Spirit. It wasn't through the Most High God. It was through her own understanding of how she processed it, because she came from an emotional place, because she was triggered. Even when I come from an emotional place, I still act Christ-like, because I am of the Christ-minded people. Only time I act out is probably never, because the Holy Spirit is there to critique me. He's there to critique me every step of the way. She's there to critique me every step of the way. So I think she has proven herself in front of millions and millions of people of what she stands for in her interactions of being triggered by Drewski, which I don't see anything wrong with what Drewski did, just because he's a comedian. I thought it was hella funny. He's a comedian, and yeah, that's what comedians do. They tend to, they shed light on the truth, a lot of truth in a funny way, some of them. And I just think that's what happened in this case, and we see the true colors of Erica Kirk, and we can all agree. And if you don't agree, it's like the devil can't hide anymore. The devil can't hide anymore. And so when Drewski triggered her, we saw her true colors. If you know it's a group of people, no matter how butthurt you are, I've been hurt before. I've been talked about. They talked about my house is nasty, this and that, all this, that, this and all kinds of stuff. But did you see me get on here act out? I said they just trying to paint a picture, y'all. It is. You have to get out your emotions sometimes, because it's not about. A lot of times it was an emotional attack. It was supposed to hurt my character, but this been like so many years, like so many times people, that's what people do. Like, I don't know what to tell y'all. Like, it's not what people do to you, it's how you respond to what people do to you. And I did not respond and say, oh, no, let me go do this to them. No, I am a very peaceful person. I don't like conflict, number one. Number two, the Holy Spirit, I want to defend myself. Holy Spirit, so why should you? Why should you? Because, you have a disabled daughter. You have children that you're raising. You're a single mother. And if your house was dirty or nasty, why didn't they come in and help? Why do you still have custody of all your children? Why don't you have a CPS case or whatever? And ongoing. It's in the pudding. It proves itself. One thing about me, I cannot stand a nasty house, and I would get up in an uproar. But when you got a bunch of kids and they all leave around the same time in the morning, you just got to do what you got to do. You're a single parent. Sometimes, you have a great night and they clean up before they go to bed. Sometimes they don't. You have to get up and be like, what's going on, what it is. You know what I mean? And it just, sometimes you have your good days, sometimes you have your bad days. But I have never once, even though they lied, even though somebody said that the pictures, what they showed of my house was altered, and they did all these things, I'm still in purpose, I'm still standing, and there's no case. Like, they basically lied. And that's what you have to let people be people. People talk about me all the time. My own people told me, because when I was younger, I was born with a huge booty. That's just what it was. I had a big booty since I was born. Ain't no going around it. You gonna see this thing coming a mile away, because that's what it is. A lot of people think because I look this way that I had it easy, and I didn't. My own people used to pick at me, say I walk like a duck, this and that. That's what they do. So I'm used to it. I'm used to it, and it's sad that we have to be used to people doing that to us. But when you're a chosen one, that's what people do. They'll make up stories. Well, it makes sense. They were like, well, haha, so nasty, and this is going on with her. 1 + 1 ain't equaling 2, so something in the mix is a lie. Anybody with a half a brain would know that. Okay? And so Erica just proved her eyes are reptilian. Like I said, she's stuck in herself because she went to defend herself and didn't let the truth defend her. She didn't let the Holy Spirit defend her. She didn't let nobody else. She came out herself. And then all the white people that stood with Erica Kirk, we can all assume that they're stuck in their lower selves too, because it was a situation you could easily moved on instead of trying to offend a group of people whose history is rooted in evilness from the same very people who Erica Kirk represents. So, elegantly put by the Holy Spirit. Let's just move on from that. But Jim Carrey does have reptilian eyes as well, and that's why I want you guys to understand that a lot of these times, just like Orlando Brown speak out in pieces. Ray J say something about Diddy or somebody, and we were like, "Ooh, they telling the truth." They only telling the truth to prove a point for Satan. They only doing it to because of what they call it is resisting me, or resisting Christ. They're already doing for hell. One thing about people who have this love for Satan and a love for people, the people that love Satan, they get up in a group and they rally together even if they don't like each other, and it's hysterical to watch. I be laughing my ass off because it's just hysterical to watch. They all group together and do all that talking and do all that gossiping and what they're gonna do, have these meetings about it, and it's hysterical because they're destroying themselves. God said He'll turn you over to a reprobate mind, and the God within you will turn yourself into a reprobate mind because you're not connected to your higher self, connected to your lower self, and you rather for demons to weave in and out your body instead of growing and healing and allowing God to come in and lead you into a better path. You rather do what you do. So they they're detrimental to their own selves. So let's work for me. The fuck? So back to Trump and Andrew Jackson. Almost everything that Andrew Jackson has done, Trump has done while he was in office. I don't know about the first time, but in the second time, and he did start some of that. Because I remember him taking the people. He was trying to take the Mexicans back to. He was deporting them in his presidency too. And then Donald Trump. I mean, not Donald Trump. I watched a clip of how ex-President Barack Obama was getting mentored by Jeffrey Epstein, who looks like Andrew Jackson. So we can say, safe to say that Andrew Jackson conscious was in Jeffrey Epstein at that particular time. And so where I think they put him, took his consciousness out and did a conscious transfer and put him in President Trump. And the reason why I say that, not just because President Trump is old, is because everything that President Trump is doing, either he based his whole campaign off of Andrew Jackson, what Andrew Jackson did, because Andrew Jackson did the tariffs too. If y'all go look it up, he did the tariffs too. If you go look at Andrew Jackson, what he did in his term, and he was the seventh president of the United States. His cause of death was congestive heart failure. What it seemed like Trump is going through, congestive heart failure. Andrew Jackson was born March 15, 1767, and he died June 8, 1845. He came into presidency March 4th, 1829 to March 4th, 1837. So it's roughly 7 to 8 years. Yeah. So, and then he was the first president that was a part of the Democratic Party and Republican Party, because you got to understand, the Republican Party already had existed. There was no Democratic Party. And then what this Google say, this is via Google. Then it says that, I think it was Henry, what's his name? Hold on. They said it was really created by Andrew Jackson and Martin Van Buren, but if you look deeper into it, who first came into it was Adams and Clay that came in to announce that they wanted to have a Democratic Party, Democratic versus Republican. It was not Andrew Jackson and the vice president at that time, which is Van Buren. Those two, they just approved it, like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do this. And that's how Andrew Jackson became, I think his name was Henry Clay and something Adams, but John Adams. But that's how the Democratic Party was created during the term of Andrew Jackson. He brought the Democratic Party. It was always a Republican Party, but the Democratic Party didn't come in until I think it was 1837, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Andrew Jackson held a very harsh disdain against Cherokee Indian, which could be the Mexicans, because if you go back to the history of things, if you go back to the history where they had to move from the east to the west, and the west is what? Mexico, not Texas. Was it Texas? Yeah, Mexico. I think it was Texas. What else? Arizona, and I don't even think it was called Arizona then. And that's why it could have been the Mexicans, and that's why Donald Trump is targeting the Mexicans now, is because of that. Makes a lot of sense, because they was in the east, the Mexican owned lands in the east. If they were the Cherokee or the Seminole Indians, then they were made to give up their land. They tried to say that the Mexican presidents sold off for a little bit of money because they like to drink and didn't care about the land. But they were forced. The United States they were forced off their land from the east, from Florida, which was in Georgia, what we call from Atlanta to Florida. They were forced east. I mean, they was forced west, and they was in east. They literally made these people, got the government, got the army, the U.S. Army, and made these people get off their land, and that's how we got the Trail of Tears, and thousands and thousands of them died, and that's probably why they moved to Mexico and why they moved to Mexico. That's what it makes sense. Arizona, and that's why it was all these tribal lands over here, and all these people that's on tribal land, in tribes and stuff, and all that protected land and stuff for them. That's why. And to this day, who is Donald Trump attacking? I'll wait. The MF and Indians, and I don't mean that in the derogatory way. I mean that because it's the MF is so much towards Donald Trump until it's pathetic, and Andrew Jackson and his whole term of presidency is based off what Andrew Jackson did, everything, even down to the tariffs. And then they said that he made America profitable again somehow, but I don't see how he did that. But when he was charging the people, so President Andrew Jackson had a very bad disdain, which is the Mexican people, who y'all call the Mexican people now. They had a very big. Andrew Jackson and Trump has a very bad disdain against Mexican people. If the Mexican people is the Seminole Indians and Cherokee Indians, then these people, Florida and Georgia, is their land. Us copper people was there too, and then the reason why a lot of black people, a lot of people that look like me love Atlanta is because you gotta understand, up there was a lot of gold. Atlanta is very rich. It was on a portal. It was on a rich portal. Atlanta was very rich. Atlanta was very pristine back then, and they took that land and gave it to the white people. And where did they come from? Out of the Petri dish. They came out of the Petri dish. So they had to go somewhere. Where are people gonna go? Where are people gonna go? Make them move. Get from over there, and you go over there, and they're gonna be right here. They had already, if you read back, and white people didn't know nothing about farming and doing all this stuff. It was already laid out for them. It was already laid out. They had already built houses. They said the lands was already farmed and tilted. Agriculture was already right. So they just walked right into money. They didn't have to struggle a day in their life. They came out the Petri dish, grew, and came over here and stole. Part of them. Not all of them. Some went to the other parts of the world doing similar stuff. Okay? So the Indian Removal Act in 1830 was mainly the Seminole Indians were affected. Some of the Cherokees was affected, which they called the Creek Indians. And that's how the Trail of Tears was formed. Indians should be, if they knew their history, they should be at these people's throat about making them go across the border. But when it was time to stand up for the black people, for the copper people like me, they wasn't standing up for the people in my shade and darker. They wasn't standing up for us, but now it's them. They want us to stand up. No, you stand up for you. All you got to do is research the 1830 Indian Removal Act. It's a whole act that was brought into law to remove them off their land. All they got to do is re-petition internationally, and Mexico is a part of the United States, and tell them, yo, that was ours. Remember when y'all made us get it off? We want it back. All right? So I'm gonna leave it here. Yeah, Henry and Clay formed the Democratic Party. Henry and Clay. It wasn't Andrew Jackson and Van Buren just approved it, but the idea and the credit came from Henry and Clay. Adam, I think his name Adam Clay or something like that, but their last name is Henry and Clay. And then Democrat. They said that they call it Democrats. A lot of people because they say demons, which is another. It was to go both ways. It's about the demons, allowing demons, because that's essentially what happened. The white people were demons. It was demons in the white people's body, suits, meat suits, that was created in a petri dish, and then because it was demonstrating how. Basically, Lucifer was demonstrating through them how to steal, kill, rob, and destroy, and how to confuse, and how to continue to create these problems and legacies. If anybody that don't belong on this planet and tell anybody to go home, white people should be the least people opening their mouths about racism, because the very foundation of them was a petri dish. They didn't come from nothing but a petri dish. They wasn't created from divine source. They was created from a petri dish. So they should be, anybody talking about racism, Erica, Kurt, you need to minimize your voice. Take that bass down. You have rights a little bit down, because you're dead. What white people, oh, they're smacking it. No. Have y'all given the Mexican back then? Like, y'all still messing with the Mexican people. Y'all still messing with them. Y'all still over there messing with them people falling up behind Trump and Andrew Jackson and Jeffrey Epstein. Y'all still messing with them people. And y'all stole from them, gave them that little bit of money, and made them move in the heat. Make them move over here where it's hot in the desert. That's what y'all did. So Erica Kirk, you need to minimize your voice when you're talking to black people. To any race of people, you need to minimize your voice. You do. You have no authority over no one, and a little bit of authority you got. You better be quiet while you still got it. You better go ahead and tuck your tail, and you should let Juicy have his way, because, baby, the things that your people did, diabolical. Diabolical. You need to minimize your voice and stand down when black people are speaking. Y'all like the people with the men with the little, you know what? Take that base off you, because y'all didn't build them houses that them Indian people, them Mexican people was on. Y'all call them Mexican now, but they was Indian. They was similar Indian people. Y'all didn't build that agriculture. Y'all didn't build them farms. They was already built for you. You stole it. And not only was it stolen for you, it was stolen for you. And not only was it stolen for you, then you got the nerve enough to sit up here and act like you something. It's because you built it off those people back then. You didn't even build it. You got it from those people and just act like it was yours, and it was never yours. That's why white people is instilled in their day to be entitled. To this day. That's why we have Karens, because of that same history. So I'm going to need you to pipe down, because you the whitest of the whitest. Blue eyes, blonde hair. We need you to pipe down when you talking to black people. I don't care if they have black. They still got black in them. You need to pipe down and talk. Minimize your voice when they talking. Yes, sir, and yes, ma'am should be your only response. Let me stop. Let me move on. Y'all, this is the end of part 1. This is part 1 of my Spark reading. We're gonna go on to part 2. Peace.